Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. Today I am going to present the topic crop rotation. Before presentation I would like to introduce myself. I am Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. I have done M.Sc Agriculture with specialization in Agronomy from Pant University of Agriculture and Technology Pantnagar in 1996. Hope this presentation will be useful to all of you. So let's proceed to the presentation. Crop rotation is the practice of growing a series of dissimilar or different types of crops in the same area in sequenced seasons. It is done so that the soil of farms is not used for only one set of nutrients. It helps in reducing soil erosion and increases soil fertility and yield crop. Crop rotation refers planting of a different crop on a particular piece of land each growing season, which is required in organic crop production because it is such a useful tool in preventing soil diseases, insect pests, weed problems, and for building healthy soils. If we have grown cereal crops in one season, if next season it is followed with pulse crops, there will be changes in the nutrient uptakes, and because of nitrogen fixation there will be increase in fertility. So because different crops are having the different natures, so the rotations is required to maintain the balance of nutrients in the soil and controlling the pests and erosion. Crop rotation means growing a set of crops in a regular succession on a piece of land in a specific period of time with an object to get maximum profit with least investment without impairing soil fertility, like growing sorghum and gram rotation and groundnut and wheat. This may also be defined as the repetitive cultivation of an ordered succession of crops or crops and fallow on the same land, and one cycle may take one or more years to complete. Like if we are going rice pulse, which is the rotation of 1 year, and second is like growing sugarcane, after that ratoon sugarcane, and then growing rice, which is complete in 2 to 3 years, and cultivation of banana. This is followed with ratoon banana, and after that rice, which is the rotation of 3 years. So in crop rotation we are changing the crops in succession of the seasons. A crop rotation is a sequence of different crops grown in a recurrent sequence over a given number of years. In some rotations, a crop may occupy the land 2 years in succession. Crop rotations can vary in one or more of the different ways, like if it is concern of plant type, then after growing grass family we can go with broadleaf crop cultivation. If life cycle is concerned, after growing of annual crops we can proceed for biennials or perennial crops. Then if it is related to season of growth, we can grow after winter annuals in spring and summer annuals. Then if it is concerned with rooting depth, then after growing shallow rooted crops we can go with moderate or deep rooted crops. If related to residue production, if we can go with light residue production crops replaced by heavy residue production crops in next succession years. If it relates to water use efficiency, we can grow the crops which needs high water use efficiency, and after that followed by low water use efficiency. After changing the crops in a rotation, we can protect the soil fertility, and we can nutrients absorption patterns and balancing of nutrient systems, and controlling the weeds and maintaining the soil structure. So crop rotation is playing important roles in these ways. The selection of optimal crop rotation is important for successful sustainable agriculture. Crop rotation is very important for soil fertility management, weed control, insect and disease control. Legumes are essential in any rotation and should comprise 30 to 50% of the cropland. A mixed cropping, pasture and livestock system is desirable or even essential for the success of sustainable agriculture. To realize the greatest benefit, a crop rotation should not have the same annual crop grown 2 years in succession and should alternate plant families. This minimizes the potential for build-up and carryover of insect and diseases population, and it maintains some degree of diversity in the cropping system. Now we will study about principles of crop rotation. The crops with tap roots, means deep-rooted crops, should be followed by those which have fibrous, means shallow root system. This helps in proper and uniform use of nutrients from the soil. The leguminous crop should be grown before non-leguminous crops because legumes fix atmospheric nitrogen into the soil and add more organic matter to the soil. More exhaustive crops should be followed by less exhaustive crops because crops like potato, sugarcane, maize, etc. need more inputs such as better tillage, more fertilizers, greater number of irrigation, etc. And the selection of the crops should be demand based, and the crop of the same family should not be grown in succession because they act as alternate host for insect pests and diseases. An ideal crop rotation is one which provides maximum employment to the farm family and labor and permits efficient use of machines and equipments and ensures timely agriculture operations simultaneously maintaining soil productivity. In crop rotation, the selection of the crops should be problem based, like on slopy lands which are prone to erosion, in alternate cropping of erosion promoting and erosion resistant crop like legumes should be adopted. In low lying and flood prone area, the crops which can tolerate water stagnation should be selected. Under dry farming, the crops which can tolerate the drought, it should be selected. And the selection of crops should suit farmers' financially conditions. And the crop selected should also suit the soil and climatic conditions. Now we will study about benefits of crop rotations. Properly designed crop rotations provide many benefits and give producers more management options for their cropping systems. Conservation planners, when working with producers to develop a conservation management system, should emphasize the importance of maintaining the plant sequence of crops in the rotation. The benefits that occur from the rotation, such as erosion reduction and pest management, depend on the crops being grown in the designated order. Crop rotation helps in maintaining of soil fertility, organic matter content, and recycling of plant nutrients. All crops do not require the plant nutrients in the same proportion. If different crops are grown in rotation, the fertility of land is utilized more evenly and effectively. Like if we have grown the cereal crops, after that if we are growing pulse crops, there will be addition of nutrients to the soil which is exhausted by other crops. Restorative crops like heavy foliage crops and green manure crops included in rotation increase the nitrogen and organic matter content of the soil. Crop rotation helps in control of specific weeds like Bermuda grass, Cyprus rotundus and Trianthema particularstrum. And crop rotations avoids accumulation of toxins and maintaining physical properties of soil. And it controls certain soil-borne pests and diseases and reduces the pressure of work due to different farm operations in a stipulated period of time. Crop rotations can help address the following resource concerns like pest management. Rotations can reduce the incidence and severity of weeds, insects, and diseases in a cropping system. When a different crop is grown each year, a different host crop is present that is usually not compatible with pest problems that may have carried over from the previous year. Because of this, the level of any given pest are kept at levels that make them easier to manage. A crop rotation allows the use of different management strategies for pest problems. Herbicides and insecticides with differing modes of action can be used, reducing the possibility that some species will become resistant to chemical control. Different crops each year may allow tillage to be used to control pests, further reducing the need for chemical control. So, if we are growing different crops, after changing year by year, there will be control of pests and diseases. Second is erosion control. Cropping systems that consist of continuous row crops and excessive tillage have a higher potential for wind or water erosion than rotations that include closely spaced row crops or perennial crops. Different crops have different growth and development periods, so that one crop may provide protection from erosive forces during a period of the year that another may not. Closely spaced row crops such as small grains or narrow row soybeans or perennial crops provide more canopy and surface cover than wide row crops and reduce the potential for erosion. So in our crop rotation there should be grassy crops having narrow spacing and also combination of soil covering crops. Next beneficial impact of crop rotation is on soil quality. Cropping sequences that include hay or pasture crops produce greater soil aggregates stability than systems that have continuous grain crops. In systems that have all grain crops, greater aggregate stability occurs with crops that produce higher amount of residue. Like example, the rotations that alternate sorghum with soybean result in greater organic carbon levels in the soil than with continuous soybeans. Next benefit of crop rotation is surface residue. Surface residue is one of the most effective erosion reduction measures available. High residue producing crops following low residue producing crops help maintaining higher levels of crop residue on the soil surface. Residue management practices such as mulch tillage or no tillage can help maximize the amount of crop residue on the soil surface during critical erosion periods. Next contribution of crop rotation is nutrient management. Crop rotations that have forage legumes or legume cover crops preceding grain crops can reduce the need for nitrogen fertilizers for the grain crops. Small grain crops following legumes can scavenge the nitrogen fixed by the legume, reducing the potential for nitrogen losses by leaching. Next is water management. Dry land cropping systems can take advantage of stored soil moisture by alternating shallow and deep-rooted crops. For example, many areas in the Great Plains alternate winter wheat, a shallow-rooted crops with safflower, a deep-rooted crops. Next contribution of crop rotation to livestock feed production. For livestock operations, crop rotations that include hay and pasture can provide a major portion, and in some cases all of the livestock forage and feed. So this presentation was all about crop rotation. Now my presentation ends here. Hope this presentation will be helpful to all of you. I have given here my YouTube channel details, Journey with Vijay Kumar Shrivastav. The link is provided. Having request, please visit the channel, subscribe it, and provide your kind and valuable feedback for further improvements. Thank you.